Analysis Certification. Our presentation tonight is about Agile Analysis Certification, and our speaker is Pandu Gupta. Pandu is one of our own. He's the Vice President of Education and Certification for the Sac Valley chapter of the IIBA. He's CBAP certified and AAC certified, which is Agile certified. He led a successful CBAP study group in the spring. We always run one in the spring, so keep that in mind. And Pandu will be leading an Agile study group in the fall. And again, he'll get into more details about that. Professionally, Pandu has a wealth of experience in IT, spanning multiple industries that include the life industry, health industry, and social services. Pandu, thanks for sharing your expertise and knowledge with us today, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Bob. I just want to start with a disclaimer. If for any reason my voice does turn up bad, or if in case I am iffy, please let me know. I can turn off my video. And other item is, I tend to speak fast whenever I'm excited. So certification was one of the areas where I get excited more, because I like to do more certifications whenever opportunities gets presented. So please stop me if in case I speak fast, so that I can fine tune my presentation. With that, I will go ahead and share my screen. And if Steve or someone can confirm that they can see my presentation, that would be awesome.
Yep, we see it.
Okay, so let's get started. What I've done with respect to today's presentation is, like, I've divided into 3 parts. The first one, the part 1 talks more about what IIBA markets or says about their AAC certification. And the second part, the part number 2 talks about my journey or my experience with AAC, doing my AAC certification. I think I did my AAC certification early this year. So some of the updates that I might provide might get updated because things keep changing. But I will share what is appropriate to anyone who wants to do a AAC certification. And then part 3 talks about the study group that Bob was referring to. I will also provide a quick demo of where you can find more information about the AAC study group that will be starting this fall at the Sacramento Valley chapter. Okay, let's get into the part number 1. So the part 1, it will be more of an information dump, but I'll try to simplify things wherever possible. But if something is not clear or not understandable, please feel free to stop me at any time, because when you stop me at the right time, I still have that context. I can explain it better. Okay, so move on to the next slide. So I know that there are some 10 members who are not yet IIBA members yet. So as a part of talking about the purpose of IIBA certification, I also just want to talk about IIBA, if in case you are still on the edge of whether you want to become a member or not. So IIBA stands for International Institute of Business Analysis. If in case I want to do an analogy, so it's just like, so PMA stands for Project Management. They are a professional association more oriented towards project management, and IIBA is a professional association more oriented towards the business analysis. The association is made up of almost 30,000 plus members. There are, if I remember correctly, there were like 100 plus chapters, and then there are 1,500 plus volunteers and 500 partners worldwide. So it's a well-recognized institution. So when you are doing a certification from a well-recognized professional association as an institution, it always adds weightage on your resume. So an IIBA certification prepares and equips the business analyst professionals with expertise and key competencies. And as I mentioned earlier, a certification from a world-renowned professional association improves your marketability, and I would say your employability, and potentially your earnings as well, depending upon the project that you get allocated to. Simply put, I would say it's an investment in your business analyst career development. Okay, so IIBA offers two different types of certifications, though they classify it as core business analyst certifications, and there are specialized business analyst certifications. When it comes to core business analyst certification, there are three. One is ECBA, and ECBA stands for Entry Certificate in Business Analysis. I will not drill down to more details because this presentation is more about AAC, but I will give just a one-liner or a two-liner about each one of the certifications so that you get a high-level overview of what each certification is all about. Certification is all about. So ECBA stands for Entry Certificate in Business Analysis. ECBA primarily recognizes individuals who are ready to develop their business analysis skills, knowledge, and behaviors as they practice their business analysis professionals. And the second one is CCBA. CCBA stands for Certification of Capability in Business Analysis. So I would classify ECBA as like a level one, CCBA as a level 2, and CBAP as a level 3. So since CCBA is a level 2, it recognizes skilled business analyst professionals who have at least 2 to 3 years of practical business analysis work experience. And CBAP, which is my favorite certification, which is almost equivalent to PMP in the PMI world. This is a level 3. So CBAP recognizes seasoned business analyst professionals who have at least 5 years of practical business analysis work experience. So IIBA classifies these 3 certifications as the core business analyst certifications. And then there are a set of 4 specialized business analyst certifications that IIBA offers, and they are as follows: AAC, CBDA, CCA, and CPOA. So AAC, I'll do a deep dive with this presentation on further slides. So it's about the agile analysis. And the second one, CBDA. CBDA is more oriented towards business data analytics. And as the name implies, it basically recognizes your ability to execute data analysis related work in any of your initiatives. The third one, CCA. CCA is it's more about cybersecurity. My understanding is IIBA has partnered with IEEE Computer Society and offer this learning certification program on cybersecurity analysis. And the last one, CPOA. CPOA stands for Product Ownership Analysis Certification. This certification recognizes the integration of business analysis and product ownership with an agile mindset to maximizing value. So if someone is interested in doing CPOA, my personal recommendation, again, IIBA doesn't recommend anything with respect to prerequisites, but my personal recommendation is please do AAC first before you plan to do a CPOA. AAC has many common terms and analysis techniques from business analysis perspective. So my recommendation would be to do a AAC first before you plan to venture into CPOA. Moving on to the next slide. So we'll start deep diving on the Agile Analysis Certification. So this is a competency-based certification which addresses both necessity and also demand for Agile and analyst communities to collaborate and transform project delivery. So as you all know that Agile methods and approaches have become prevalent for at least I won't say couple of decades, but at least in the last 15 years or so, it has become more prevalent, and almost even the state projects follow Agile approaches for many of their projects. So the ideas which were identified in the realm of software product development have spread behind software development into many other areas that are impacted by business analysis. This means that the business analysis has to evolve to support the new ways of working, not just in the software development, but in area of the businesses where change is happening rapidly. So IIBA classifies this AAC certification as a competency-based, since it specifically evaluates your Agile mindset and Agile business analysis competency. Okay, so do you have an Agile mindset? So this certification kind of strengthens your skills and expertise, focusing on applying Agile perspective within a business analysis framework. And as we further proceed in the presentation, I will let you know from my personal perspective why. So because there are so many Agile certifications available in the market, I will share why I specifically chose AAC. So that might help you to make a better decision on whether AAC is the right certification for you. So as an Agile analyst, you will learn how Agile intersects and interacts with the business analysis frameworks and methodology. And who is this certification for? So this certification is for BA professionals, business analysis professionals who work in Agile environments. And this certification, I would say that is also for augmenting your business analysis skill set and expertise. In case you want to stay up to date on best practices and industry trends, that's also one of the need. You should probably do this AAC certification. And once again, I think this comment probably applies to any kind of industry certifications. So especially in this digital economy, success is defined by sensing and responding rapidly to market demands. So any professional association certification will definitely help. Just a last bullet point about a survey that IIBA conducted. I think this was in 2020. So as per this annual business analyst salary survey, it has been found that 71% of BA professionals practice Agile approaches. Just want to repeat the number, it's 71%, it's not 50%, it's 71%, more than almost three-fourths of BA professionals practice Agile approaches. And those certified in Agile analysis earn up to 16% more. And again, this is back in 2020, and I'm pretty sure the numbers would have improved by this time. Okay, with that, I just want to spend a couple of minutes on the Agile extension Babak guide, Agile extension to the Babak guide. So if in case you decide to do AAC certification, all you have to focus is on the Agile extension to the Babak guide. So if you're doing a CCBA, ECBA, or CBAP certifications, you would be reading the Babak guide version 3. So if in case you are planning for AAC, you have to, so they have provided a Babak guide, which is called as Agile extension to the Babak guide version 2. In short, it's called Agile extension. So it's the leading guide for describing the benefits, activities, and practices required for effective business analysis with an Agile mindset. And Agile mindset, as you know, it's a constant focus on delivering business value. So the purpose of this guide describes how techniques and concepts commonly used in Agile approaches can be applied to business analysis practices. And the Agile extension version 2 provides practitioners and organizations a base of knowledge to enable effective Agile business analysis in order to generate successful business outcomes that add real business value and customer value. And this guide, as per IIBA website, was developed in collaboration with Agile Alliance. And the guide provides guidance in leveraging effective Agile business analysis to create business outcomes that add real business and customer value. And the guide also describes both the Agile mindset and practices to help you use continuous feedback and quick learning to prioritize delivery and minimize waste, create business outcomes, and increase value delivered. Okay. So you might have a question about what is the difference between the Babak guide and the Agile extension. So the primary purpose of the Agile extension is to describe the link between business analysis practices applied with an Agile mindset, defined here as Agile business analysis. If you go back to the guide, you will see lots of pages in the guide that talks about Agile business analysis. Babak guide reflects the evolution of the business analysis discipline and its most common practices, but the Agile extension demonstrate the evolution of agile business analysis practices and common techniques. Once again, if in case you are preparing for the AAC certification, and there isn't a need for you to go through the Babok guide and then come back to the Agile Extension guide. As long as you focus on Agile Extension Babok guide, and wherever the guide recommends you to refer back to the Babok guide, and only those places, if you can look into them, that should be fine. Sometimes I have received, since I am the education VP of education for Sacramento Valley chapter, I do get questions whether from folks outside the board asking for details about whether they need to read the Babok guide and then go to the Agile Extension guide. I would say you don't have to do it. Just start working on the Agile Extension guide straight away. Okay, and as you would go to the guide, there would be bunch of sections that talks about the Agile business analysis. I just want to summarize what IIBA says in terms of when it says Agile business analysis. So it's a practice of business analysis in an Agile context within an Agile mindset. As per IIBA, Agile business analysis can provide a competitive advantage in this fast-paced and, believe me or not, it's a complex environment. Okay. Moving on to the next item. So, and there are a bunch of chapters that talks about the Agile mindset. So an Agile mindset drives Agile business analysis practitioners' thinking and behavior. This, combined with a set of practices and techniques, enables effective delivery of just enough of the right product to the right people early and often, and focusing on, as you guessed, maximizing the business value and the customer value, are the goals of the Agile business analysis. And the goal of applying an Agile mindset is to maximize the outcome. So whatever you might have heard in the Agile manifesto is kind of repeated over here, but again, only from business analysis perspective. So to summarize, do less and do the right things right. Okay, and as you go to the guide, I would say that 75% of the chapter or the guide talks about 3 different horizons or knowledge areas, and they are strategy, horizon, initiative, and delivery. And under each of the horizons or knowledge areas, the guide also talks about the techniques that you can apply, and there are some tips and tricks in terms of which technique need to be applied in under which scenario. When it comes to strategy horizon, the decisions that are made in that horizon or knowledge area impacts the entire organization. So the business analysis practitioners who are operating at the strategy horizon support decisions about strategy and the allocation of available resources in support of that strategy. So it's more at a very higher level. And the decisions made at the strategy horizon identify the products, services, and initiatives to which the organization should allocate resources. So it's more like a high-level planning kind of horizon. And then when it comes to initiative horizon, so the purpose of business analysis at this horizon is to inform decisions regarding solution options, features, priorities, and lifespan. So it's kind of a level 2. It's like going one level below the strategy horizon. So the decisions that are made at that horizon impacts only a particular initiative. It's not, whereas the decisions that are made at a strategy horizon impacts the entire organization. So the business analyst practitioners operating at the initiative horizon support initiative-based decisions about how to create value with the resources available that were decided during the strategy horizon, but as well as better understanding the needs of the stakeholders and all the options available. And delivery horizon is the low-level horizon, and this is where all the work is done by a BA. So the purpose of analysis at the delivery horizon is to inform decisions regarding the delivery of a particular solution. So any decisions that are made at this horizon is about regarding the delivery of a particular solution. So typically the business analysis practitioners at this horizon work with the delivery team, it could be a development team, build team, test team, to understand how to best break down the work and how to deliver and test the value that the team is creating and how to learn quickly from the work the team is doing. And as you might have guessed by this time, if in case you are taking up a AAC certification exam, majority of the questions are from delivery horizon. So when I talk about the breakup of the exam coverage, you will see that there's a majority percentages on the delivery horizon. So if in case someone wants to get things quickly and not worried about being not worried about the percentages, but want to get the certification done, you got to focus on delivery horizon. Okay, and then if you look at the BABA guide version 3, the IIBA recommends there are like 50 techniques. And when it comes to Agile extension guide, there are like 24 techniques which are not covered as part of the regular business analysis work. So these techniques are relevant and appropriate to any business analyst practitioners doing Agile methodology kind of work. Okay. So let me quickly jump onto the AAC exam. Again, as I mentioned earlier, the Agile Analysis Certification exam is formulated just based on the Agile Extension Guide. So someone does not have to worry if they need to look at the guides or other books. Agile Extension to BABA Guide is has complete information, and whatever question that you would come would be covered definitely in the BABA Guide. And the only flavor is there could be questions that are based on real world scenarios. So it's a practical, not major, since this is more of, I would say that 75% of the questions that are asked in the AAC is theoretical, and the remaining 25% are real world scenarios. But when you go to CBAP, I would say that 80% of the questions are real world scenarios and only 20% are theoretical. So when compared to CBAP, AAC is way simpler. But again, there are questions that are based on real world scenarios. Moving on to the next bullet point. So there are 85 multiple choice questions and you would get only 2 hours. And as I talk about my journey and my experience, I will talk about doing the certification at the PSI testing center versus doing at home. But for the time being, please be aware that there are 85 multiple choice questions and you get 2 hours to answer all those questions. Okay, and this is what I was referring to. So in terms of exam coverage, so they talk about Agile mindset and general Agile business analysis. So 30% of the questions come from this particular area. And then strategy horizon is at like a high level horizon that impacts the organizations, and the coverage is 10%. Since it's more of planning and more theoretical, it's 10%. And at the initiative horizon, you get 25% of the questions from that knowledge area / domain. And as I mentioned earlier, 35% of the questions are from delivery horizon. So if in case you're planning for a professional certification that you want to achieve before the end of this year, as long as you can focus on the Agile mindset chapters and the delivery horizon chapters, you will be able to pass with distinct colors. But again, you need some information on strategy horizon and initiative horizon in order to eliminate some of the multiple choice, in order to answer some of the multiple choice questions. Okay, let's quickly talk about the certification process. If in case you have gone through CCBA or CBAP, the step 1 is pretty taxing, because typically it involves filling up an application where you need to demonstrate your work experience, your other skills, right? In terms, I think, and you also need to demonstrate the professional unit. So it's a completely tiring process even to fill up the application. But when it comes to AAC, there is an application that is required to be submitted. You can straight away go ahead and purchase the exam. All you need to do is log in with your IIBA credentials, or if in case you don't have an IIBA account, go ahead and create an account and then start purchasing the exam. So I can walk you through the steps when I go to the resources slide, but there is no need for any applications to be submitted. You can straight away go and purchase the exam. The only thing that you need to do is purchase the exam, and there are a couple of pages. If I remember correctly, there were like 3 attestations, just to say that what you're saying is true. It's more of code of conduct, and I think there are some terms and conditions which are pretty concise, and it's the similar attestation that you would see on any certification like CCBA and CBAP as well. And step 3, all you need to do is schedule and take the exam whenever you are ready. So just to summarize, there are no applications. You just need to purchase and appear for the exam. So it's pretty simple in terms of the process. Okay. Okay, let me talk about the fees as well now. So since there are no applications involved, so there are no application fees. So that way you see a 0. In terms of exam fees, if in case you are a corporate member, so when I say corporate member, if in case some of the organizations, in my ex-organization, I was working for Accenture prior to my current organization, so they were a corporate member. So when I applied for, I think it was CCBA certification that I took when I was also with Accenture, they had a corporate tie-up with IIBA. So for me, the exam fee was $225. But if in case you have an individual membership, your exam fee would be $250. And if in case you are a non-member, it would be $400. Once again, my personal recommendation, please become a member so that you have access to the free PDF version of the guide. Otherwise, the guides are not available for you to download or access from the IIBA website. So, and again, if for any reasons you fail the exam and you want me to rewrite the exam, it will cost you more to rewrite the exam. So as you could see here, if at all you need to rewrite the exam, if in case you are a member, whether it doesn't matter whether you are a corporate member or an individual member, it will just cost $195, close to $200. But if in case you are a non-member, you got to pay $350. So if in case you are not worried about money, you don't have to get an IIBA membership, but I would recommend that please become a member if you are not a member yet, so that you can avail these benefits. And then there are a bunch of other benefits as well as you become a member. Okay. So I know that not many of you in this group is already AAC certified. So I want to spend less time on the recertification process, but however, I just put a slide so that you get to know what you need to do from once you attain the AAC certification. Okay. When it comes to IIBA, in order to maintain any of your certifications, you must demonstrate an ongoing professional commitment to the business analyst profession. And every certification like CCBA, CBAP has their own recertification requirements. But when it comes to AAC recertification, you have to renew your credential every year. I think for CBAP it's 3 years, but for I don't remember on top of my head what the CCBA is, but for CBAP it's 3 years. But for AAC, it's every year. And again, the reason for recertification, it's to encourage the ongoing professional development of recipients and encourage and recognize individual learning. And since Agile is something, it's so Agile, things change a lot. So that's why I think they are renew, and that's why they request us to be on top of your Agile analysis and recertify yourself every year. And then I would say that the other purpose of recertification is to encourage the efforts of recipients to give back to the profession and then continue to sustain the global recognition and the value of the designation. And in order to satisfy the recertification requirements and maintain your AAC certification, you have to earn and report in the BA development log a minimum of 20 CDU units during every year, because the cycle is 12 months, which is 1 year. So you got to do your updates, and I'll walk you through when when I display the resources slide, I can show you how you log your development log details as well. Once again, if you're not aware of what CDU means, it's called continuing development units. It's basically, as Bob said, it's a measure in terms of hours. It's a measuring unit used to quantify approved learning and professional service activities. And so when you talk about certifications, IIBA issues something called certification handbook and also a recertification handbook. And this recertification handbook describes what are the activities that are eligible to qualify for continuing development units. So since the focus of this presentation is more about certification, the initial certification, I don't want to spend too much time on what those CDU activities are, but then you will be able to get that information from the recertification handbook. Okay, yeah. So, yep. So you have to earn a minimum of 20 CDUs across multiple categories or activities, and then you have to log those hours in the BA development log on your IIBA website. And then you need to submit a recertification application, and I think mine is due in the month of January 2024. And again, it's just a pretty, based on what I know, it's more of attestation and then certify that whatever activities that you have reported is genuine and appropriate. So there is no need to reappear for the exam. Once you submit the recertification application, as long as you are not selected for auditing, you should get your credentials renewed automatically. Okay, quick slide about the recertification fee. As you could see here, since it's done every year, the price is comparatively less when compared to any other recertifications. So if in case you are a member, it's $30. And if in case you are a non-member, $50. Once again, being a member would help you to save money in the long run. Okay, let's see what else I have. Okay, so these are the bunch of resources. These are the bunch of resources that are available and that I put together in the slide. And whatever information that I presented in the part 1 primarily talks about are available, are accessible when you click on these links. And Steve would be make sure that this presentation along with the deck is posted on the Sacramento Valley chapter website. So you don't have to copy the links at this point in time. Just be aware that the slide would be available for you to download in the Sacramento Valley chapter website. So the first link that I posted here takes you to the Agile Analysis Certification site in the IIBA website. So if in case you're not sure, as Bob was stating earlier, if you go to the certification item on the IIBA website and you click on IIBA certifications, it lists all the certifications available as offered by IIBA. And once you click on AAC, you will get to the AAC specific pages. So the first URL that I provide as a resource takes you directly to the Agile Analysis Certification website. And then the second link takes you directly to the Agile Extension Guide. As I mentioned earlier, this link would work only if you are a IIBA member website. So that's why if you see here, like I'm in logged off mode, that's why it says that want to keep reading, get a membership. But if in case I'm logged in mode, I don't want to log in now. If in case I'm logged in mode, it should take the person to the BABOK guide. And then, as I mentioned earlier, so there are 2 handbooks that IIBA provides for every certification. So for AAC certification, we have a handbook. Let me quickly pull them over here. Yep. So these are it's a 7-page document. So it talks about the exam information and the certification processes that I went through the presentation today. And then it also talks about maintaining your certification. And it also talks about what you need to do if in case you want to suspend or withdraw your certification. So more information available on the real certification handbook. So similar to the certification handbook, we also have a recertification handbook, and then I don't want to click on this one. Again, it downloads a PDF. But if you are worried about overwhelmed with the IIBA website, but just use these 4 links to understand more about the AAC certification exam, and you will be able to complete what you need to do. Okay, with that, I will move on to the part 2 of the presentation. So this is more about me and my experience. Okay, let me try to answer. I think probably this slide would be more like a FAQ kind of questions, but I'll try to answer each one of these questions from again, whatever thoughts or experiences that I'm providing here are mine. It might vary from person to person, but again, I'll try my best and try to share my thoughts. So why AAC? The reason so there are, once again, there are so many certifications, even from PMI. I think they have a ACP or something like that. And then there are certifications from Agile Alliance, and there are a couple of certifications from other associations as well. When I was comparing those Agile certifications, because I wanted a simpler one to get started and then venture into other ones. And since I am an IIBA member and also part of the Sacramento Valley chapter, I wanted to see what is that we have from business analyst perspective, right? Because when you are in Agile projects, you are always on thick and thin of things, and sometimes you really don't know what the framework or methodology is, and also what does that mean from business analysis perspective, right? So that's why I chose to do AAC. And the second reason is the Sacramento Valley chapter was gracious enough to sponsor me. So that's why I took that opportunity. I didn't want to miss that opportunity. So that's why I did the AAC certification. And again, if in case you want to get some professional certification before the end of this year, and where you have a high probability of success the first time you attend, I would strongly recommend doing the AAC certification. Okay, second. So let's say you decide to do AAC certification, right? Many of the times, people, again, this is in general, they think that let me go through the guide, let me complete the guide, let me put together a plan for a guide, see number of pages, number of chapters, number of subsections, come up with a plan. And then once they complete reading the guide, sign up, pay the exam fees and appear for the exam. But don't do that. I am very good at procrastination, and I know that many other people do it, at least my close friends. So I'm going to generalize it. What I did this time was, in terms of CBAP, that's a bad thing that I did. It kept postponing. So but this time what I did was AAC, like I just went ahead and paid it. Once I decided that I want to do the certification exam, I just went ahead and paid the exam fee, completed everything, and selected the exam date as well. Because once you know the target, and you know that you paid money for that, you will be naturally inclined to take responsibility and do the reading. So my recommendation, again, my experience and my suggestion, once you're decided to do a certification, please go ahead and pay the exam fee, select the exam date, and then based on the exam date, do the planning and see what you can do. Okay, in my case, I had a 2.5 months preparation. I was not able to spend any time over the weekdays. I spent time only over the weekend, and sometimes, usually it's a Saturday noons and Sunday evenings. I did not spend more than 4 hours. Even within this 2.5 months preparation, the way I did was, I would say that the first 1.5 months or 1 month or maybe 4 to 5 weeks, I read through the guide. And what I did next was do some practice exams. So we have, there is a website called Watermark. They have, their questions are pretty tough. So if in case you are able to pass their exams, then there is a high probability that you will be able to pass the real exam. And I have done this for CCBA. I'm sorry, I have done this for CBAP, and I've done this for AAC, and I've been successful both the times. And I'm not marketing for Watermark, but it's a very good resource, and they have simulation exams. I mean, I say simulation, it's a full simulation. They mimic what you would encounter during the actual IIBA exam. And they also have a simulation exams where as soon as you answer your question, you get a feedback on whether you did right or wrong. If you did wrong, they will also give an explanation of what went wrong. So that would be the more mistakes that you make, the more you will learn. So the watermark practice exams has been really helpful. So I just gave an URL, but again, this would cost you money. So if you are pretty serious and you want to do it right the first time, I highly recommend. And I did it twice for CBAP and AAC, and I have been successful. And again, when you practice these exams, since these are tough questions, don't feel dejected. I know that especially when I was doing CBAP, I was not, I think I would have out of 13 times that I tried, I think I kind of on the border edge at least 50% of the time. I wasn't feeling confident, but when I made the mistakes, when I went back to the guide, because they also give when you answer something incorrect, they also provide a reference to the corresponding chapter and the corresponding section. Even sometimes they even go to the paragraph level. So I went back to the guide, look at the section, read the paragraph one more time, and then try to answer the question. That way I learned more. So from that aspect, this seems to be a pretty good application or tool that one should make use of if you are very serious about writing the exam and pass the first time. Okay, so again, I think this should have been part of the first slide. Yes, I read the Agile extension twice. So the first 1.5 months, I read the guide. Initial 4 to 5 weeks, I read the guide once. Did lot of practice exams. I think the last 2 weeks, and once again read the guide to make sure that I'm not missing anything. So it's more like quick thinking rather than read word by word or chapter by chapter. When you start with the guide and end with the guide, I think, again, it's my choice. I felt I learned more when compared to what I did initially. But again, this is my recommendation. So read twice and don't do it immediately. Read twice. Once you read for the first time, give it a break, like maybe at least for 2-3 weeks, and then restart it. In this 2-3 weeks, practice as many sample questions as possible. Do Google it, and if in case you're not willing to pay shell money to a watermark, do Google it. You can use ChatGPT as well. So you can say quiz IIBA AAC questions. You will get 10 questions, and they also give you the answers. So make use of as many free resources available, and then after 3 weeks, just before you appear for the exam, read the guide one more time, and then go for the exam. Okay. I think Trish was making comments about online rocket exam. So I felt that appearing in person would have been a better choice. It was so much of challenging. At some point in time, I was overwhelmed. It says challenging because of artificial intelligence. What I meant is that once you open that particular exam screen, it keeps monitoring all your movements. I tend to look at the roof and the wall at times, because that's how my thinking goes. And every time it showed a warning, and at times it says that if you do it one more time, your exam will end right away. I was like, that got me tensed. And I was like, for AAC, if I get tense, if in case I had done CBAP like that, I would have definitely failed, because my thinking is like always on the roof. and then it does automatically. Even though an invigilator is there, I think at a given point of time, the invigilator has at least 2 or 3 people. So you might not be focusing that much on one person, but the tool is so sophisticated. Hand movements. Let's say if you are on still right, something like this, like if I keep it like this and still thinking, it says that you are not moving. So I felt it was really overwhelming, and you cannot take a break. And there are so many restrictions as well. So I think I completed the exam in 90 minutes, 1.5 hours. The reason being because of all those artificial intelligence, because I did not want to review at all, because I felt that I'm getting overwhelmed. So I just did it on the fly and completed it. But I wouldn't have done that if I appeared for in-person exam. But unfortunately, what I heard recently is that only CCBA and CPAP are offered at the PSA testing centers, whereas every other exam is online remote proctored exam. But again, online remote proctored exam has its own advantages. So for example, I took the exam, I think around 10 p.m. on a Friday night, which I cannot do it if I'm going to a testing center. So, but in case of AAC, there are no other choices. For only for CCBA and CBAP, you make use of the PSA exam centers, whereas every other certification is now online remote proctored exam. This is based on the latest information available at IIBA website. But again, things could change. But right now for AAC, it seems to be a 100% online remote proctored exam. Okay, so I'll stop my story and quickly move on to the part 3 of this group. So if in case you are interested, and if in case, just like me, you cannot do things on your own, and if you want looking for a study group, so Sacramento Valley chapter is offering a Agile certification study group this fall. And the tentative schedule is as follows. What we have done is like with 7 sessions planned, and the sessions are scheduled every Wednesday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And the dates are from 25th October to 13th of December. There are a couple of Wednesdays that are missing over here. And the reason we recommend Wednesdays is because sometimes there are long weekends, and 80% of the times there is a better attendance or a better turnaround of people when the sessions happen on a Wednesdays. When it is Thursdays and Fridays are the bad. Mondays and Tuesdays are overwhelming because that's the start of the week, and Wednesdays are the right one. So we recommend to have Wednesdays, and the sessions that you see over here basically covers. We read through the entire Agile extension guide, and we will have like each one of the study group members take turns in presenting a chapter, presenting a session. The reason we do that way is because when as a study group member, sometimes things do not jive in or get into your mind if you're just listening. But if you are asked to prepare and present, you will really spend time in trying to understand, because you have to make sure other study group members understand as well, right? So in order to achieve that responsibility, you will focus more. So that's why the study group members, including me, take turns in presenting each one of those sessions. And yeah, so in the session number 2, so the session number 1 is more about what IIBA says. And the session 2, we cover the first 3 chapters present in the Agile Extension Guide. So it's Introduction, Agile Mindset, Analysis, and Multiple Horizons. Session 3 and session 4 talks about the 24 techniques that we were talking, that I had earlier mentioned when I was talking about the Agile Extension Guide. And then the session 5 talks about the strategy domain. Session 6 talks about the initiative domain, and session 7 talks about the delivery domain or knowledge area. As you could see here, we use watermark for each one of the sessions to quiz ourselves. And when we quiz ourselves, and the feedback that we have received in our prior study groups is that they like watermark. So you get an opportunity to get exposed to the watermark application as well, because if in case you are on fence on whether you need to shell more money to do it, but once you see the watermark exams and how it works, you will really like it. Okay. Okay. Once again, with respect to study group, we will be using the study materials and presentations that are provided by IIBA. So these IIBA materials are not available to outside world. Even if you're an IIBA member, these study materials are not available. These study materials are prepared so that each one of the individual chapters can engage their study group members with IIBA provided materials. So it's not something that we are creating on our own. These are study materials provided by the IIBA. So for this study group, we are looking for a limit of 20 participants. Once again, the rationale is we cannot afford to have more people. When you have more people, things get slowed down. Based on our experience with the BABOK study group, which is oriented towards ECBA, CCBA, and CBAP, we felt that we think 20 participants would be the right number for the study group as well. Once again, there's a payment involved, but this is just a one-time, and it is one-time payment of $25 that you need to pay when you sign up for the study group. And then coming soon, so there would be an email blast sent out by Steve sometime in next month to talk about, there would be an official communication that would be sent out sometime next month by Steve. And I want to take this opportunity to provide a quick demo on the page that we have created in the Sacramento Valley chapter for this particular study group. So if in case you are on the Sacramento Valley chapter, if you click on this link, it will directly take you to the study group page. But however, if in case you are on the home page, all you need to do is under the carriers menu, select join our Agile study group. Oops, sorry. So this is the page that you need to access, and this has all the information that I have presented today on my part 3 of the slide. So it talks about what we are going to do. It also talks about getting professional development hours of 14 hours, because each session, we have 7 sessions, each is 2 hours. So if you attend all the sessions, you will get a certificate for 14 hours, which you could use it for professional, which you can showcase it as a professional development hours. So please know that it's not a CDU, because you are participating and you are also presenting. So that's why these are professional development hours. And as I mentioned earlier, there are 7 sessions planned, and these are the dates, tentative dates. And I don't think there will be any changes to the dates. But again, once we start the study group, because of things that could happen, there could be a shift here and there, but we would try to complete everything before 15th of December. And we also have a link to the study group schedule. And if there are any questions with respect to the study group, or anything related to what I covered today, or anything related to IIBA certifications, please feel free to send an email. This would reach out to me, and I would make sure that I will respond within 24 hours. So education@sacramento.iiba.org is your point of contact for anything related to IIBA certifications, and also with respect to the study group. And as Bob mentioned, we will be having a BABOK study guide, rather I would say CCBA, ECBA, CBAP study group in 2024, mostly in spring. So even if you have some questions related to that, please feel free to send me an email. Please send it to this email ID, and I'll make sure that you will receive a response within 24 hours. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, if you made the decision, please use this Pay Now button. I think it takes you to PayPal. Once you make the payment, drop me an email, and I will follow with my treasurer to make sure that the payment is getting reflected. And we will make sure that, as I mentioned earlier, we do not have anything saying that this is limited to 20 participants. But again, the first 20 paid participants, sorry, I didn't know that. So depending upon capacity, we might change it, but at this point in time, we are planning only for 20 paid participants. Okay, let me go back to my presentation to see if I have anything else to cover. Oh, that's all. That's the last slide that I want to cover. Let me see if there are any questions.
I didn't see any in the chat, Pandu. There's a couple around, the links and stuff, but I think we got that straightened out.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions about Agile in general, or the study group, or anything for Pandu? All right, I'm not hearing anything. So thank you, Pandu. If you have any follow-up questions, you could also send Pandu an email at the education email address that was just up on the screen. So thank you again, Pandu. We're looking forward to this Agile study group. It's only $25 for 7 sessions. That's like the whole program. It's not per session or anything, and it's a great deal. And it's open now. So, you know, by attending today, you kind of have the soft launch of it. Once the blast goes out, I have a feeling, you know, it'll fill up pretty quick, and we'll have to shut it down, you know, to new participants. So think about it, sign up. But be serious when you sign up too. Just don't do it to try and like reserve your spot because you're afraid you're going to be shut out. You know, in your mind, make sure that you're ready to go forward with it and that you'll be attending all the sessions and, you know, potentially just going for the certification, which is a great thing to have in today's environment. All right, so we're at the end of our presentation piece. Steve, I'll turn it over to you to wrap up with the quiz and the raffle. And then you can remind everybody about the online survey, and we'll end there.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, so if you still have your menti.com open, go ahead and go to it, or go ahead and open it up. I'll put the code back in the chat one more time, 96789424. And then we'll do a quick quiz. Let me share my screen again. Stop recording.